Hello, everybody. Hi, welcome to the program. It is Wednesday, and we're here at the moment. I don't know. No, we're it's fine. There's a big fire down here, and it's not here. So it's not really. It's weird, man. There's a thing. I think because this area has its fair share of fires. When a fire is happening and it's like bad, but it's not like bad right near you. You know, I could drive 20 minutes and it'd be bad there. Like it's close. It's not, it's not that it's far away, but it's not like currently endangering this area. It's very easy to be like, oh, there's a fire? Oh shit, okay, all right. Like it's the news coverage is always a little weird. Not that I don't know. Like also, like we don't really see a lot of news coverage anymore now that now that we live in this world of like cord cutting or whatever else. Like there's sort of this like lack of local news. You have to kind of seek it out, right? And I don't know that I don't even know where I would go to seek it out. I guess, you look at the Los Angeles TV station websites or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. You end up not really having the same type of access to that stuff. It ended up being a slightly different situation on New Year's Day. My wife wanted to watch the Rose Parade, which is a New Year's Day thing where it's a parade. There's a bunch of floats and I don't know, it's like Debbie Gibson performed Electric Youth. And that was crazy. But she was like, yeah, let's watch the Rose Parade. And I had to sit there and go like, how the fuck did we watch the fucking Rose Parade? And I had to sit and think about it for a while. And I ended up on their website and they're like, we have official broadcast partners, including Pluto. And I was like, oh, Pluto, that's that thing. Okay, so you look at Pluto and find the channel it's going to be on. And then Pluto, it turned out, was like injecting their own ads into, it's like a streaming service, right? It's like a free streaming service. And so it's like, here's a bunch of free garbage, but it's free. And sometimes you like that garbage and you're like, cool, man, this is sweet. You put on Pluto and it's like, we got the Rose Parade. And you're like, okay, cool. And you're like, oh, it's like this is the most busted broadcast of anything I've ever seen. In terms of like they had their own like talent hosting the show and they were super bad and they just kept throwing like, just in the middle of it, just ads would just like come on and come back like with no throw to commercial or anything like that. And so it was like this super busted broadcast. I'm like, there's gotta be something else. Another option for this. So while that's on, I started looking around. I'm like, okay, like if you go to the website for this TV, like, so I ended up finding like the local LA feed of the Rose Parade, and I was able to like, what do they call it? AirPlay that from my phone to the TV, and that mostly worked. And by the time we had gotten to that point, my daughter had lost interest, so it was just kind of like whatever. So I'm sitting there watching the fucking Rose Parade, going like, with Debbie Gibson, what the hell? I'm like, wow, Lisa Gibbons hosting this one, huh? Nice. I don't know how many other networks have their own. It's just there's all these like vestigial, parts of the television experience that like still exist. But like by and large, the idea of cable television, let alone over the air TV, is just, it has become such a wasteland It's really amazing. It's like it's like a profound, like to I have a like a digital antenna. I don't have it hooked up. My first move was to try to turn that on, but I've left that sitting outside for 2 years. I have, so it's an antenna, but it's like it's not like a big antenna that goes on the top of your TV. It's like a black rectangle that you bolt to something. And I just bought it, and I'm like, let's check it out and see how well this works. Just kind of not elevated on the top of the house or whatever. And so I was like, okay, I need to find a place to put this antenna. And then it's got coaxial cable coming out of it that goes into a box called an HD home run, which puts that antenna on your local network. And you can access the HD home run like it was a cable tuner and just kind of like change channels and watch stuff. And then I have that hooked up to a Wi-Fi extender that is plugged into a power strip that is plugged into an outlet that is on my front porch. And so the whole thing is just sitting outside. It doesn't get rained on out there. It doesn't get, well, not much anyway. It doesn't get super wet, but the whole thing is just like sitting out there, and it has been sitting there unplugged for a good long time. And so that worked just fine for a while, but like every time I would try to I was like, I don't want to mount this antenna for real, because to mounting it for real, I mean, this is a tall building. So I would, if I wanted to mount it right, I would mount it up on the second story and run actual coax down through the house or, whatever. And do it that way. But like, no, that would be, at that point, that's like a professional installation job. And, like maybe I would do that if I actually cared about this stuff. But I was just like, okay, let's fuck around and see what kind of TV channels we can get. And so I was using command strips to command strip the antenna to the side of the house. And that worked fine until it all dried out and fell off. But even then, I was getting a lot of channels. You get like 90 channels or something like that. And they're all terrible. It's all like you get like network TV, right? And so like you get the ABC, NBC, CBS, whatever. But then it's like, hey man, do you want to watch 9 different Vietnamese jewelry shopping channels? And I'm like, yes, I do. Yes, I absolutely do. And you're like, great, because that's pretty much the only other thing that comes in on this. I'm like, dope. And so it was fun to have that, and like you can connect that all up to a Plex server, and it will act as a DVR. You can tell it to record programs if you like recordings of programs that have commercials in them. Which I guess if that's the only way you're getting your programs, that's the only way to get them. But it was just it's just a surreal experience of just like looking, because there are websites you can go to and you punch in like your zip code. And it'll say like, hey, you should face the antenna this way, and then it is likely that you will get these channels. And you look at it and go like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, this is like I'm in a relatively major metropolitan area. I'm in the suburbs of said major metropolitan area. There's a lot of channels that come in. And then you set it all up and you're like, hey, it's just like it's all the same shit that's on Pluto. It's like the most busted, like, the royalty-free network or whatever. It's just like, here's the stuff that was very inexpensive for us to license for television, and it is literally all the same type of busted programming that like Pluto and all those other things shows. Yes, the My TV network and all these other ridiculous things that are just like, I don't know, man. We got 12 episodes of, so like, do you want to watch My Three Sons? And you're like, dude, no. I had Nick at Night back in the 90s. I've seen enough My Three Sons to kill a man. I don't need any more black and white television. I don't need that's the t-shirt. I don't need any more black and white television. I had Nick at Night in the 90s. And so it is just the worst. I mean, whatever. It is just like the most empty ass television in the world. Like it's astounding when you set it all up and look at it, like how bad all of it's gotten. And like, so we go over to my a relative's house here, and he's got cable, and so sometimes I'm looking at like, well, what's on like basic cable, because I don't think he's subscribed to like good cable, and so I'm like looking at like, what's bad cable look like, and it's like these like fake news channels. I don't mean like fake news, I mean like they present themselves as news channels, but like it is the most non-news type of stuff in the world. It's like it's ostensibly meant to be like local, and so they have like the weather, and then it's just like the most like human interest. Like there's nothing about anything that's happening. It's just like this guy found a chicken McNugget that looks like the head of Ronald Reagan, and we talked to him for 45 minutes. It was just like it's crazy, just fucking crazy shit. I'm just like, what is like this after the windstorms came through, this guy had an airplane in his backyard, just like the like crazy shit. And a lot of that stuff seems bad too. So we don't subscribe to TV because like, it's 2025, right? But with the internet that I get from a cable company, they're like, you can get there's 70 channels you can get streaming. And I went and looked, and it's like all that shit. It's like 45 channels of that shit, and not much else. And like you see how bad it's gotten. Because like my only view into like what's on television was like always like, well, wrestling is still on television. And now even that's, not necessarily the case, or not. It's not the only option, the only legal option for watching that stuff. And so like that's been super, like you just, I don't know. You get this really warped perspective on what the fuck television is. And then you see it, like you see what cable TV is anymore. And you're like, God damn, I'm glad to not have to do that anymore. I don't know. Like we used to, I don't know. I used to watch a fair amount of television, but like we always had, there were not that many channels when I was a kid. Not that it was, we had cable, at a relatively young age. We got cable, and, but it was still, it was like maybe 40 channels, 30 channels, something like that. And, like you'd watch a lot of MTV and whatever else, but like, I don't know. It's funny just to see how much that stuff has changed, and how like you see it. You go like, oh yeah, the only people who would still subscribe to cable TV in this day and age are people who literally don't know about or can't handle or don't understand any other option. Like even my mom, like we had DirecTV for a while, and she had it forever. And I think she even just like canceled that. And she's just like, yeah, I don't, like I'm not watching any of that shit. So, so it just didn't make any sense. Yeah. MTV is like a weird, Profane, it says, yeah. MTV is nothing but reruns of ridiculousness. And that's kind of like, that's become like the new model for some of these channels that are available, whether it's on a streaming service or whatever. It's been like, okay, we're just going to run marathons of this stuff all day. When I was, when I still had satellite service, and I had a couple of roommates, like we would sit around and, we'd watch the horse racing channel because it was really dumb. But like it used to be that it was only like TNT that would show like, and it was always Law and Order. They were just like, dude, we got fucking 9 hours of Law and Order all day Saturday. And you're like, word. I'm going to just sit on this couch, and I'm going to sink into this couch, and we're going to watch so much fucking Law and Order, and we're going to order some food and, whatever. And it was just like, it was a solid way to waste a weekend. But now every network has just become like, we're doing marathons too here's ridiculousness for 8 hours straight, and then I don't know, at night we'll show Catfish or whatever other what does MTV, I don't even know. people always, that's always the funny thing. It's like, I remember when MTV used to play videos. Like, yeah, man, yeah, totally. But it's like it's natural. It's easy to understand why they don't anymore. And they do, like, if you go, you can go find alternate MTV channels on some of these, like I think if I hit the like free streaming button on my TV and it went to go look for streaming channels, it would find like 9 or 10 different MTV channels. That would be like, here's MTV hip hop and here's MTV classic rock. Like there's like that stuff is showing videos on those streaming networks. But yeah, I don't know. Like so I just bought a new Roku for this TV here. And I really don't like Roku. I don't think Roku is a great device or a great service. I don't really like the way that they run their business. They gave us some hassles back in the day, and that maybe is coloring some of this. But I think that like I would generally speaking take an Apple TV over a Roku, but also the Apple TV Plex app is dog shit. Straight up dog shit. And there are alternative clients you can use on an Apple TV, but they don't support like they don't support any of the like kid restrictions of like, hey, don't let my kids see the stuff that's really on this Plex server, and only let them watch kid shows. And so I can't use that. And so, the Apple TV Plex client is fucking terrible. The Roku client's much better. I mean, the one that I can download on the LG App Store for this TV is better than the Apple TV app. And they're going through a process of overhauling all their apps and stuff. So maybe the Plex situation will improve over time. But anyway, Plex released an update that supports the AV1 codec on Roku, and I was like, well, shit. I have a bunch of AV1 content. Like all that other stuff. I was like, okay, maybe I should check that out. So like after I updated the one that we have in the living room or whatever, and it's nice because the kids know how to use the remote for the Roku, and so it's it made sense to have another one on this TV so my son can run in here and dive in this chair and he can watch Team Spidey or whatever it is. And that's been pretty good. But yeah, the Apple TV box, and maybe they'll release another Apple TV soon. That it sounds like that they're going to, maybe this year, and maybe that will have some meaningful improvements on, at least on the hardware front. It's been a while since they released one. But yeah, the Apple TV, and part of it's the remote. You can buy like third-party remote. You shouldn't have to, but you can buy like third-party remotes for the Apple TV that suck less. Yeah. So like, yeah, I don't know. Like that's kind of how we deal with television and movies and things of that nature, is just a variety of streaming boxes and all of this. And so it's funny, we go over to that relative's house who has cable, and he'll put on like Paw Patrol or whatever's on Nick Jr. or something, and the kids will watch it for a while and be like, we want to watch this. They'll start calling out other names of TV shows, and I'd be like, hey, look, that's not how television works. Like, it's not how any of these devices actually work. Like, you're spoiled in a ridiculous way, and in a way where you don't even understand the number of years and decades and everything else of like, hey, you used to not be able to say, hey, I want to watch this. It was like, hey, is it 3:00? Because I need to, that's the show I like is on at 3. Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those funny technology things that you just kind of grow with, and you don't really think about it much. But then when you see it go the other way, you're like, oh yeah, this is a level of convenience that is that they of course are taking for granted because they've never known any other way of watching anything. And it's yeah, I don't know, it's a weird it's still a weird change. I think when you break it down and really think about it, it's still really strange that everything moved to that sort of like streaming on demand whatever setup. And so like it's funny, you know, like I do still watch wrestling. Well, I think I'm going to start watching a lot less wrestling. I think that's how things are shaking out. But I do still watch wrestling, and that is on live. And there's something about that type of live television that if I don't catch it live, it doesn't matter. You know, you're like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, maybe I'll catch it, maybe I won't. And, you know, like the idea of going back and like, I've got to figure out what happened on a Monday Night Raw. You're like, no, no, I can read a paragraph of text and I'll be fine when it comes to WWE pro. But that's actually, well, we'll see. You know, they've got their Royal Rumble show coming up here pretty soon, and that's always a fun time. So I imagine I will want to watch that. But it's funny, they made a bunch of changes. I don't know if you know, if you don't follow this stuff, then maybe you don't know. But like they moved their Monday night program to Netflix. And their Friday night program has changed from 2 hours to 3 hours. And both things are, I don't know, the show they put on Monday, for their first show on Netflix was like fucking terrible. Just like, and it's their first one, and you know, they probably had some jitters, but they decided to do a show where they went out of their way to try to explain the program to new viewers. And they did it in a way that I'm watching going like, this seems like something that would be way more confusing to new viewers. Like you're trying to stop and explain this stuff in ways that I don't think will actually help anyone get into this. And it was just, it was just a fucking boring ass show for 3 fucking hours, man. And then now they're making their Friday night show 3 hours, and so I used to view Friday Night SmackDown for me was a good lead-in for AEW's Friday night show, and now AEW does not have a Friday night show, and so they have now they're all in on Wednesdays and Saturdays at the moment, and so if I'm not like waiting to watch the program I actually want to watch on Fridays, then I'm probably not going to watch SmackDown anymore, man. I don't know, like the WWE stuff, like it always ebbs and flows. You know, that's the thing about this. It must be horrifying. I don't know. Like we for a good long time, I have been making things for the internet that you just have to keep making them. Next week there's another podcast. Next week there's another this. It was always this feeling of just like, yeah, you can't really sweat any one week or any one program or any one thing because I've got to move on to the next thing and we've got to keep moving. And so I think WWE is sort of in a similar place, right? Because they've, all right, well, this is what we got this week and whatever. There's no time to really think about that. We got to move on to next week or whatever. And so I imagine that that's very difficult to deal with because they have to handle a bunch of, the egos and injuries and all the other things that can kind of throw a monkey wrench into your plans or what have you. But like, there's just a natural ebb and flow to wrestling content in general, where I think that's, they find a hot thing. They find a person that really catches on, and they find a thing that, really works out for them and does well, and people want to watch it. And then that thing kind of runs its course, or, I mean, more often than not, sticks around a little too long. And you go like, okay, I'm done with this. and then they eventually move on to the next thing. And so, usually, especially in a world where they're putting on 6 hours of fucking television a week, more if you count the other show that they do, which whatever. Usually there's something you can latch onto and be like, well, I think a lot of this is dumb, but I really want to see what's happening with this person. And, there's people who work for WWE that I like a lot. And, there's people that I know that work there and all that other stuff. And so I naturally gravitate towards some of that stuff. But a lot of it's just, it's been pretty, I am not getting anything out of that program. And, it's easy to kind of like fall into a habit of continuing to watch this stuff for a long time, and eventually you just got to go like, dude, I'm good, man. So I'm going to keep watching AEW because I've really been enjoying what they've been doing. But unless the Royal Rumble drags me back in a big way, which there's definitely been times where I've been exactly like this, and then the Royal Rumble comes along and I'm like, ooh, that's exciting, and then it kind of sucks me back in all over again. But like, there's definitely there's a lot of wrestling on television. Some might say too much now, or rather, it's fine that all of this is on television. You don't actually have to watch it. And so when I see all the time they're wasting with like The Rock's gonna come out and say a bunch of dumb shit, and he just comes off like a fucking weird old dude now, and he's just fucking as corny as it gets, and it's just like, you're gonna let this dude talk for like 15 minutes? I'm just not gonna watch that shit anymore. I don't need that shit in my life. It's not to say that AEW is putting on like stellar programming top to bottom. I think there's aspects of that show that you just go like, man, this stuff could probably be better. But on the average, like, I'm enjoying those shows a whole lot more. And so I'm going to continue to watch those and probably continue to fall off of WWE. We'll see. That's my wrestling update. It's hard to get into New Japan and all this other stuff. I think, like, it's funny not to just sit here and talk about wrestling for even longer, but there's something funny about, there's these guys who were really big in, I mean, the core of AEW came from this, but there are guys who did really well in Japan and wrestled for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And, some of these guys have come over to AEW, and now they're on television every week. And some people are like, I can't believe so-and-so is being wasted like this. I can't believe this person isn't being factored into this and factored into that. And I agree up to a point, but also a lot of these people weren't on television every single week. And so you're seeing so much more of them. It's really wild, man. You're like, a guy like Kazuchika Okada, who is very skilled and all of that stuff. Like, he is not, like, they've put him on television like every single week, and he's been kind of a goofball because I think people forget that, like, it is not the first time that he has been involved in like comedic types of wrestling or whatever. But because people only watched the biggest New Japan shows ever, they were like, okay, Wrestle Kingdom on is, let's watch that, and that's the only New Japan that they ever see. Then yeah, they see the big fucking anime presentation of here's Okada walking out and doing this, and like Kenny Omega is a fucking great example of that. Like, like watching his ring entrances on some of these Japanese shows. It's fucking crazy. There's an art to it. You're just like, holy shit. But like, you can't do that every week on fucking television in the States. And so, like, people are selecting and choosing the biggest of the big New Japan shows and then saying, this guy there, I can't believe they're not doing more with him. It's like when they have a big stage, they tend to put on a big show and give these guys the spotlight that they are capable of holding. And I think that they generally do a good job of that. But also, yeah, man, having having to put on a weekly television show and trying to figure out like, okay, like what do you do with Okada when it's not the biggest match in the history of wrestling? And it's like you put him in the ring and let him say bitch all the time and people laugh and have a good time and he seems like he's enjoying himself. Like, you're just like, okay, yeah, that works too. I don't know. Like it's just an interesting side effect that I wouldn't have necessarily thought that it would have been that this would have been the case, but it was something that I kind of realized. Like I was talking to a friend of mine about Wrestle Kingdom 8 the other day, because I think that was the first Wrestle Kingdom that I had ever seen, and like 8 and 9 were some really formative shows, I think, for and I mean honestly, like Wrestle Kingdom 9, you could watch that show and be like, you see the roots of what AEW would eventually become in some of those shows. But like there's these massive shows. They got fucking dudes dressed up like Marty McFly coming out in a fucking DeLorean. Like it's their WrestleMania. It's their biggest show. And for a lot of people, and it's different now because New Japan has a streaming service, and so you can watch more of their shows, but they still don't, it's not like they run weekly television. It's not that like they're like, we're on 3 hours a week from this time to this time, and here's our backstage storylines and this and that. Like New Japan doesn't run those types of shows. And so like adapting those wrestlers that you really only saw on those giant stages into a weekly TV format doesn't necessarily work. Even when you see the New Japan shows that are in those like smaller buildings. Yeah, whether it's, Korakuen Hall or even like places that are even smaller than that. Which is always a trip to see, like, oh, look at these small buildings where you could like, like it's crazy the small audiences that some of these guys perform in front of. But even that's not necessarily like weekly television, and the storyline progression is not done the same way. And so like the exposure you have to those people is much different than you have come to expect from American wrestling television. And so it's just a weird, I view it as kind of like part of it is like growing pains, and I think that AEW could be a little bit better at presenting some of their stuff, and they could be a little bit better about kind of beating their chest about some of their bigger moments and whatever. But by and large, I think it's a really hard thing to do because people are holding it to such a weird standard. It'd be like comparing WrestleMania to, like a fucking house show in the WWE, just like, oh, this show wasn't big like that one. I was like, yeah, no shit. So yeah, I don't know, whatever. That's that's wrestling. It's a fascinating, wrestling is in a very fascinating place, and it gets wrapped up in all this, all of this talk about the future of television and everything, because it is live TV. It does have a certain cachet that a lot of other television hasn't been able to hold on to, and it matters in certain ways. It was very weird to see. I guess it makes sense, but like, it was weird to see when WWE was on Netflix earlier this week. They had a bunch of ads, and normally you don't associate these streaming services with ads, but because it's live TV, they're going to need a break anyway. And so as part of the production, you end up seeing some ads. But during the ad breaks, it was a lot of ads for Netflix shit. It was a lot of other ads too, but it was like ads for like, watch this on Netflix. And you're like, man, like these people already subscribed to Netflix. You're not, like, what are you getting out of this? You're getting these people to spend more time on Netflix, which ultimately kind of costs the company more money. I don't know. There's like so many different ways to advertise Netflix shows to people when they're using the Netflix app, like the front page of Netflix or whatever else. That it just seemed very weird to me that they were using their time that way to be like, you need to watch this show. Like, nah. But yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of like just a lot of weird tactical stuff that, I'm sure they will all iron out the kinks on all of this stuff, because, all of it is so much in flux in terms of like things coming to streaming services and instead of television or in addition to television. And what does that mean? There's just a bunch of weird stuff around all of that. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But, well, I don't know. Maybe you will. I think like I said, I may be done with WWE programming for a good long time. We'll see. We'll see how the Royal Rumble pans out, I suppose. I've been looking at CES stuff and kind of waiting to see if anything else surfaces that's worth a shit after the podcast yesterday. And no, man. Like, the show floor is open and it's people talking about smart rings and that I saw. I think it might have been on The Verge. Yeah, here it is. There's a story on The Verge that is the best stuff we've seen at CES so far. And it's like, it's a laptop with a screen you can stretch up. And you're like, okay, all right, yeah, that's something. All right. It's a phone battery thing. But like, as I'm scrolling down the list, on their list is the dumb fucking robot vacuum cleaner that can pick up socks I was talking about yesterday. Like, really? That's one of the best things you saw at fucking CES? I was scrolling through TikTok the other day because I figured, might as well do that while I can. And it was this dude from CNET who was like, here's the coolest thing. This like very breathless, like, and it's such a weird video because like you're probably recording these videos in front of the PR people for the product because you're there taking a product demo and you're shooting this video. It's not like you have this in your office and you're doing a thing. So it's this weird, like, it's like, yeah, this is one of the coolest televisions I've ever seen. And it's a television that you can stick to a wall with suction cups. And it's battery powered. And he's like, you could put it anywhere. I'm like, how many fucking times? Like, I got a TV mounted to the wall. I had a guy come in and do it. And it's done. And that's where the TV is now. Like, I want the TV to be over here now. And it's all, and by the way, it's $6,000. You're like, fuck you. What are you talking about? Like, what are we, what? Like, I guess, man. Sure. Why not? But it was like this very like breathless, like, look at how awesome this thing is. And it's got a fold out sound bar and you can detach the speakers for better battery life and, whatever you're doing, I was like, no mention of how long the batteries last on this sizable television screen, that you're suction cupping to I guess like if you work in an office that has like glass walls in the meeting rooms and you're like, you can't afford to put TVs in every one of your meeting rooms, then you could, well, you need to move the TV over for this meeting. Like, is that it's just like, fuck, what this is the thing you're like losing your mind about to look at this you're like, I guess, dude, sure, I guess. Yeah. Suction cup it. This does not move me, man. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a bunch of minor stuff and smart home shit and, all the other stuff that you kind of expect to see out of CES. There was the other kind of gaming story that came around. Was part of this AMD Lenovo roundtable thing. They had, I'll talk about it on the podcast next week, I'm sure. That's kind of a better forum for this stuff. But they had Jason Ronald, the Microsoft's VP of Next Generation, which is a great title. Just a great title. VP of Giant Beard from the looks of this Verge article, if you ask me. But basically, we were talking a couple of weeks ago about this idea of or you know, the idea that like, hey man, Windows on with these handheld things super sucks. It's not a great way to play games. The hoops you have to jump through to make all that stuff work. Like Windows is not built for a controller and a touch screen. It's just not. And so there was, you know, talk a couple weeks ago of them being like, oh yeah, we're going to try to find a way to. It was not an announcement. It was more just like it was like Windows Central or something reporting on it. Anyway, this guy kind of said like, yeah, you know, hey, what the Verge is how the Verge is framing it is the Windows handheld gaming experience should change within this calendar year. And so, you know, and all the quotes from him are around the idea of like, hey, we already do this on console. We need to figure out a way to bring an Xbox experience, which is like a very vague term now that Xbox means everything from your toaster to your sock grabbing robot vacuum. Like they've watered down the meaning of Xbox in such a way that you're like, I'm not sure what you're talking about now. But the idea that they would bring a console-like experience to Windows to try to find a way to have a better gaming mode, whether it's bare metal or, you know, like anything on the performance front, or if it's just like, hey, we've got a better interface here for these devices and we're going to make it work. And yeah, I think either is interesting. But yeah, he says like, you know, there's certain things in Windows that were not designed for if you don't have a keyboard and mouse, like thumbstick support or joypads or stuff like that. He says there's fundamental interaction models we're working on to make sure that regardless of the operating system details, it feels very natively like a gaming centric device and a gaming centric experience. So I don't know. That seems like, honestly, that sounds like that they're going to make big picture mode for Windows, which I think is a good idea. If they want these devices to thrive, if they want these devices to be able to run Windows and not lose people in the process, if they want these things to be like a little bit more mainstream, they need to come up with a mode for Windows that, you know, is well suited for these types of devices. And it sounds like that's what they're doing. So good. They should do that. Anyway, I don't know. I thought I'd play some video games, but you know, video games. You can take them or leave them. These things. What's up with these video games? I thought I might try Path of Exile 2 again, and you know, it's had a couple of patches over the last week, and I'm wondering now if the bug where I can't that I can't get past, I wonder if they've fixed that. So I thought maybe I would try a little bit of that. Let's see here. Good. Okay. Well, okay. It only lets you change from keyboard to controller from outside the game, and somehow it got set back to not having controller. Let's try this again. Okay. The fun thing about this is I'm walking into a boss fight that, you know, I'm not winning every time. I've died a fair amount of times because I forget what this character can even do. Because weeks go by between attempts. Okay. Alright, and then we have the... This is the thing where I smash the ground and it makes people walk slow and then eventually there's an earthquake. Yeah, okay, that's that thing. And then that's our roll. Okay, now let's go try and...
Hammer and anvil!
Rolled the wrong time. I again rolled at the wrong time. Okay. People ask. Yeah, people seem to, you know, like this is as far as this is like the first thing that resembles a boss fight in this game, kind of at post prologue. So I'm not the guy to ask, but people seem to like the controller support in this game just fine. Tail, he says.
Hammer and anvil.
Ah, God damn it. Close on that one. I guess the other thing I would say, and you know, this is maybe not a great way to judge this game, but considering most of my time in this game has been on this fight, and then the times when I get closest to beating it have been the times when it locks up, and basically soft locks, and I have to Alt F4 out of the game. I'm not having much fun with it. He's over here, and now he's going back here, and oh, and he burst out and killed me. Great. Great. In my experience with this so far, it usually takes me about 6 or 7 attempts to get, like, my sea legs again, and then I have one run where it's like, I think I'm gonna win the fight, and then it locks up completely, and I can't actually finish the fight, and then I quit out of the game and wait another 2 weeks. But it's, you know, there's been some patches, so hopefully those patches have fixed that part of the game. Now I just have to remember how to fucking play. This man barfing on me. Oh, hey, it happened again. Cool. Awesome. Okay, so I guess they haven't fixed this. I can move the left analog around and continue to, like, kind of highlight stuff. And that's Path of Exile 2. This has been my experience with it. Again, this is probably less than an hour into the game. And yeah, this has been my exact experience with it. Is I have a handful of attempts at this fight, and then one of them goes down like this, and then something happens and it locks up. So there you go. There you go. Maybe if I bought some stuff, maybe that would be... Maybe if I upgraded to the Warlord of the Karui supporter pack. Maybe I'm just not supporting the game hard enough. Anyway. Good to know. I thought that maybe, you know, like I said, obviously over the holiday break, the game did not see a lot of patches because everyone's on vacation. But there have been a couple of patches since the last time we attempted this, and it went down exactly like this. So there you have it. There you have it. You know what game hasn't crashed on me? Though maybe it should.
These offerings honor your suffering and practice.
Let's see here. Okay, go over here. Hit that button, hit that button. It's Warframe. I got a thing. I think since the last time we spoke, I've got a thing over here now. And it lets you, basically, these are other games, you know, Destiny has this as a similar concept to this. I realize that this game probably had it first, but you know what I mean. It's an artifact that when you open it, and you open it by completing a mission, you can get one of these types of items out of it, and you can spend a currency, a grind. You earn some stuff that you can use to kind of refine these items in ways to kind of skew the randomness of the possible rewards. I still don't know what I need or what I want in terms of items and rewards. I have so much fucking stuff over the years that I don't know. It doesn't. I don't really see a lot of good reasons to care about blueprints and stuff when I've got like 9 or 10 different Warframes that I haven't even leveled up at all. So I'm just kind of playing through the game, and I understand the game a little bit more now because I've been playing more of it. And so there's a handful. So let's let me back up a little bit. Let me try to explain Warframe as someone who maybe doesn't have the firmest grasp on it. This codex over here will list kind of the quests that you can do. You have your big box here is going to be the main quests, and you've got some kind of like sub main quests, and then you've got some side quests. And so there's a lot of stuff in here that, this is... The Hex, I believe, is part of the Warframe 1999 content. But I'm not even at a point where I can see what I need to do that. But I can see that, like, okay, in order to do the second dream, I need to have done the Nata quest, and I need to have unlocked the Neptune junction in Uranus. And so we go over to the Nata quest here that I have not gotten to Uranus. I need to go to Uranus until I encounter strange drones. And so how do you get to Uranus? Well, I'm on Venus currently. If we go to Uranus, you see that there are junctions connecting the areas. I can get to Uranus via Neptune or Saturn. I had some open levels on Saturn, which doesn't seem right, because normally I like the areas, like, I've unlocked most of Earth, and I've unlocked the relays to Mars, and I've unlocked the relays to Phobos and to Deimos and to Ceres here, so we can kind of... Oh, wait, no, we don't actually want to do that. But I haven't played all these missions here, so I haven't unlocked Jupiter. And so you have these things that you... In order to unlock this junction, you see I need to complete these 3 things. One is I need to complete a quest called the Archwing, which maybe, I guess maybe I did that 9 years ago. I don't know. I have no idea. Why that is showing is completed. But I need to do these other things. Defeat Vor and Krill at Exta on Ceres. Okay, so Exta is here. So we would have to do this mission, then this mission, then this mission in order to unlock Exta. But we'll have to do these missions anyway to get to the Jupiter junction. So... maybe that would be a thing to do. But also, for whatever reason, I had some spots unlocked on Saturn. And so that gives me an inroad to complete the Uranus junction, where I just need to defeat Sargus Ruck at Tethys on Saturn. And Tethys is here. We have a mission unlocked here, so we can just go bop, 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 and then we're right at the junction anyway. And I think that's what I'm going to do, because I think that gets me further. I don't know. Again, I played this game. They've reorganized so many things in this game over the years that maybe that's why I had missions unlocked on Saturn already, even though, like, really I was in this kind of Earth, Mars, Venus area. But it gave me some stuff on Saturn. So maybe this would be the thing to do. Oh, that's right. Archwing is the thing you can fly. I do have an Archwing. It's these missions are terrible. I really appreciate the way Warframe seemed to, over the years, they seemed to add a bunch of new gameplay and new things. And so the Archwing is like a thing you fly, but it's like it just feels so clumsy. Anyway, let's go do this sabotage mission. What do I have equipped? I mostly just need to see if I have things equipped that I can level up. I think I do. Whatever. Let's go do this. Let's make sure voice chat is turned off before we end up in missions with other humans. I don't know if it has... I don't even know if the game has voice chat. Okay. Okay. What were we doing? Okay. We're going to try and do this Saturn thing. We're going to go to Enceladus. Perform a sabotage. A sabotage. Do I consider this a good video game? I think so. Like the more time I've spent with it over the past couple of weeks, I feel like I'm coming to appreciate it in ways that I perhaps did not before.
The Grenier have been harvesting a nearby planetoid for weapons-grade material.
The thing I'd say is I think that like the mission design of all of these missions, like the next 3 or 4 missions that we're going to do here, not super fun. Also, I don't really always have, you know, a good grasp of what the different Warframes, each of them has 4 abilities that you unlock by leveling them up. And there's a couple of Warframes that I played like I paid attention to enough that I got to be like okay at some of the abilities. And it like made sense or whatever. But like by and large, I'm leveling up a dude. It gets to level 30. I move on to the next dude, and I have, you know, maybe if I were to play this game seriously to a point where I had leveled up so much stuff that I was like, well, I guess now I need to pick the ones I actually like. Then I would spend more time trying to figure out which ones those were. But for now, I've just been like, as soon as I level up a thing, I move on to the next thing, and so I haven't really. Do I just kill this? Yeah. And so mostly I just like fucking, I don't know, I just go around and I cut these dudes, and it's not difficult per se. And you know, you do this knee slide into dive thing. That's pretty satisfying. I've been using this I guess a Bratton or a Brayton, and it's a terrible assault rifle. The damage it does is dog shit. And maybe that's because I haven't upgraded it the right way or whatever, but I'm basically just going in and saying, you know, what are the automatic upgrades that I can do here? Oops. But like, this is sick. I can run and I can do this little slide, and then I can jump out of that and double jump out of it. And then, you know, you can kind of cut in the air and do stuff. There was a character, a Warframe that I was playing as last week that had a higher likelihood of crits in the air. And so that was kind of interesting as a change here. Where am I going? Where's this machine? Is it? It's over here. Oh. And if you leave your squad open, other players will join it as you're going on these missions. It's, you know, like, it's very kind of easy group up, you know, and the group, you know, you can end the group at the end of the mission. You know, it's fairly, it's fairly low pressure, I would say, much of the game. And I assume that there are probably... Oh, hey, that's the guy that's with me. I was like, what's going on? I assume that there must be things in this game that are actually, like, difficult to do and require you to know what you're doing. But I haven't encountered much of that yet. But like I just want to get this rifle to level 30 and then never use it again because it's terrible. Like look at how much damage it's doing. I can switch to my sidearm here, and I'm just like doing an exponentially higher amount of damage with these pistol shots.
Target found. Destroy it.
But I want to say that this rifle is like the base level rifle that you get at the beginning of the game or something, and so maybe that's part of why it sucks, but I don't actually know.
Excellent work. You have managed to thwart potentially dangerous discoveries from being fully realized. For now, you are surrounded by Grayer Marines.
All right, well, now my sidearm is level 30, so I can replace it with something else. But a lot of this game is just, you know, hey, go do a thing, and then get to the end of the level. Go to extraction, and then the level ends. And in a lot of cases, that thing is... Oh, we're actually getting knocked down here. Let's switch to the gun that does damage. My shields were getting low.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
And that's the mission.
Executed.
And then you get some stuff, and I don't know what any of this stuff does. Detonite ampules and nanospores and such. I'm like, yeah, okay. That's I'm sure that there's some stuff that I could craft if I had the right blueprints or whatever that that some of this would be good to have. But let's all right. But let's take a look at this stuff. Okay, so that pistol was max rank. Let's replace it with something else. A Furus Prime, vanquish chaos with dual firepower. Let's try that. I don't know. I got one of those. We'll go to upgrade. We'll put some mods into it automatically instead of learning what any of this stuff does and doing it. And, you know, doing it intelligently. Let's just not. This stuff we're still leveling up. So we'll leave it that way. Oh, this gun is max. The gun on my robot guy. But I don't think I have any other... I don't think I have any other ones, so we'll just leave that one there, I guess. Did I put stuff? Yeah, I did. Okay. What are the abilities of Ash Prime? Okay. Throw ninja stars. Got it. Smoke bomb. Okay. Understand. A forward teleport. All right. Blade storm. That all sounds fun. Yes, yes. Salamat says, wow, Anthem looks great now. So that's the kind of fucked thing is, you know, if Anthem had been way more of a fucking pure live service game with a wider variety of content, I mean, that's the prop. Like there were things about Anthem that were actually pretty good. They fucked up some of the details in a way that you know, that ruined it. Okay, let's go back to Saturn here. And so we did that one. That means we can do this one. And then we have to do this one before we can do this one, which is what we would have to do anyway. All right, so let's go do this one. And see what's going on.
Our position has been compromised. Defend the cargo until reinforcements.
So this time we joined a mission that was already in progress, much like someone joined us a little bit ago. This just kind of seems like how it goes, you know. You kind of end up. Oh, this is the thing. So this is a defense mission where I guess we just kind of defend this thing. And like in a lot of other games like this, you'll have situations where you will be asked, like, are you ready to extract, or do you want to stay here for like a risk versus reward? Like if you stay in this mission for another 5 waves, you will get more of a reward. But if you lose everything. That's dog. That dog doesn't have a beret, so it's not that cool. I'm glowing. I don't know. There are all these countdowns and numbers up in the corner. I'm guessing I was buffed by one of the other characters in one of the other players in the squad, and I'm like, yeah, okay. What? All this stuff is learnable, right? I mean, you know, like all of this map still. Like you have probably, much like me, you have probably played a lot of other games like this. I think that Warframe kind of presents itself in ways that don't always seem super clear, and also it's very intimidating to get into as a new player or a returning player, because you're like, I don't, like, what the fuck do I even, you know, what do I even do next? What is this world? You know, the world of Warframe is not the most coherent place, narratively speaking. And so I think it's very easy to be put off by a lot of the things in this game as just like, what the fuck is any of this? I think the switch that flipped for me was that I have just begun to embrace the like, what the fuck is any of this aspect of this game? Like, it's nonsense. Constantly. But like, the action is decent. You know, this stuff here, like, you know, stand around this thing and kill this stuff. It's not the most engaging content in the world. You know, like if we're being honest, like there are plenty of missions in this game that are just like very generic. And so like I could easily see someone approaching this and just being like, dude, okay, so what is the appeal here? The story is a bunch of nonsense bullshit that barely makes any sense. The mission design is often repetitive, especially in these missions where you're just working your way across the star map and opening things up. You know, what's the appeal? And so I'm having a bit of a skewed version of the experience on top of all that because I have a lot of gear. I have a lot of shit in this game. And so I have a lot of stuff all ready to level up. And so it becomes like that thing of like, well, okay, there's always going to be another thing you could be working towards, whether it's crafting another gun, crafting another whole character, trying to find the blueprints, and you know, and that's when it becomes, I think, even more like, you know, stuff like the First Descendant and whatever, where you're just like, okay, do these people, okay, they want to keep going, so I'll keep going.
Keep fighting. Another opportunity to extract will appear soon.
And so that's when you end up with like, oh, I'm waiting for one specific drop that's going to allow me to craft this thing. And I think if you get into that end of it, that's the actual appeal, right? And that's where they monetize, you know, because you could also, in some of these cases, buy some of these characters or buy some of these things that you're grinding for. You could bypass that grind with dollars, American dollars. I mean, well, if you're in Canada, they probably take Canadian dollars too. At some point, it all gets converted to Canadian money. Captain Blackhelm says, I always thought Warframe could benefit from frame skins that looked a lot less alien. Everything is so weird looking. I agree. I don't, like, aesthetically, I don't really love the, like, here's all these pointy, weird dudes. I'm not really that into the look of the frames themselves. And so there's a fashion aspect. You can color them and there are skins. And so, you know, people want to design their stuff accordingly and whatever. But, like, yeah, I am not necessarily into the look of the characters themselves. And like the guns are also very, like, sometimes you look at the gun and you're like, I don't know what end this is meant to shoot out of because of the way you designed it and the way it looks. Like, meanwhile, I'm like running around and not shooting anything because I'm like which ones are the bad guys? You know, like, I'm not used to these full squads. I'm used to playing alone. Ninjas play alone. But yeah, like I don't like that, especially now that they've over the years they've kind of gone for more like human looking, like, oh, there's a guy under here or whatever, and now you can see his face. Like I think a lot of the human looks in this game are even worse. But you know, if you like, you know, like that's going to be a personal preference thing, right? Some people are going to love that specific design and all of that. So. This is a big sword. This is a big, slow swinging sword. I'm used to melee weapons that are a little bit faster, kind of the standard katana looking swords and stuff. I got used to one of the Warframes that had the ability to triple jump instead of just double jump. And now that I'm playing all these other ones that can only double jump. Man. But like I was saying last time we streamed some Warframe, I like there's an ice guy, Frost, that I thought was pretty good. Alright, got that guy. Oh, now I'm gonna fall to my doom? No, okay. Would I consider Warframe to be a modern successor to PSO? I think you could say that about all of these games. Like, there's certainly a...
Unless you can handle more of the enemy.
I'm looking to go at this point. I wanna unlock the stuff.
That's the last of them. Objective is secure. Let's go home.
All right, that rifle's max rank, and I can take it off and do something else. So sure, yes. I mean, yeah. Insofar as yeah. I mean, PSO was also a 4-player game where you would assemble a squad for a specific mission and do it and leave. And I think there's definitely like a lot of, and I think that's probably part of the draw to this style of game when it comes to me in particular, is that the problem, obviously, like PSO, the original PSO was not a free-to-play game. And so, it didn't have to worry about monetizing in specific ways and whatever else. PSO 2 is a free-to-play game, and PSO 2 New Genesis is, kind of continues in that tradition. The funny thing is, I just don't think that they do that stuff as well as some of these other... They don't do this stuff as well as some of the other games in the space. Like PSO 2, I don't think is as well realized of a concept as, say, Warframe. And so that's sort of a bummer because, like, I am naturally kind of, predetermined to be drawn to a Phantasy Star Online game. And I did play, I played through like the first handful of episodes of New Genesis, and it's not a bad game. I just, the way with PSO 2, they decided to like sell things in subscription style formats that I wish were more permanent, where it's like, hey, if you want more character storage, you need to pay us in 30-day increments. And And so like just the kind of the quality of life stuff is tied to a 30-day ticket. And so you buy 30 days of access to, you know, material storage or whatever, and then you get used to having it, and then it expires and you're like, fuck, now this game is a pain in the ass because I'm spending all this time selling shit and, you know, I'm like moving equipment, you know, like, and it's not a fun thing to have to dick around with. And that really bugs me about some of the Phantasy Star Online stuff. You know, some of the stuff they did around like player housing and selling that in increments or whatever. Like, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. But like, if I was looking for a specific character or skin to grind for or whatever, this would all make a lot more sense. But like, I would look at this and go like, I don't necessarily want any of this stuff. And so, you know, some of these other, do I want 10,000 Kuva? I don't know. I don't know, man.
Let's check what's next.
What was I doing? I was going to get rid of that rifle. This thing. Let's instead go for... what is this? A golden version of a crossbow. Alt fire to let loose a barrage of bolts. Burnished with deadly force. It doesn't really tell me much about the gun itself, but... noise. Alarming. Alright, I like a nice alarming noise. Let's go with that. Sinister Reach. We've equipped Sinister Reach. Okay. Okay, we need to do Tethys, and then once that's done, we'll be able to open up Uranus. Oh, is this what's supposed to unlock the Duviri Paradox? It says quest, the Duviri Paradox, but I already did it. Is this normally supposed to be, like... So that's the other thing, is like, there are things you can do out of order in the game. Did I get a bunch of platinum from the devs at some point? No, I have not received anything from the developers of the game. I have had access to things over the years, but it does not come from the developers. Duviri used to be accessible as an early quest. I thought it was now part of, like, I thought they put it way early. Everything I read was like, oh, they put it way early in the progression and it's scaring off new players or whatever. Rapid has joined us for this one. Hello. So these assassinations are, you know, this is where you're kind of more fighting named characters.
Efforts. Several of our dig sites in this sector have been attacked and annexed by Ruck and his fleet. Take Ruck out. Ruck is nearby. Be warned that he is a formidable adversary with an almost inhuman hatred for all that is not Grineer.
I just kind of run ahead and kill things, and I don't know, I never know, like, there are missions where you are supposed to stay quiet and not set off any alarms. Because if you set off an alarm close to the target, they will start destroying the target. It'll be like, oh, the hostage is going to get killed, or, you know, or whatever it is. But generally speaking, I don't know, man. I'm just running up to things and murdering things, and I never know if there's a good reason to not play that way. It never feels like there's a good reason to hang back. course, this gun is a big weird beam, it looks like. So now that alarm is going off, and who cares? I mean, like, you can disable the alarm. I can go over here and be like, dot. But, like, I don't know. It's just, it brings on more dudes, and, like, I'm here to cut dudes. So
I'm detecting a large security force heading your way. It's the Grenier. Will be adorning only the most impressive in Grenier body modifications. You will need to stay one step ahead of him.
oh, there was something resembling a cutscene there for a sec. I teleported. Like, oh, right, yeah. Right, when I hit teleport, I'm going to appear right next to this guy, aren't I?
Are you just mercenaries fighting for scraps? Where is this so-called tender honor?
I mean, he's got a point. We're fighting him 4-on-1.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit.
Honor is not really the... That fucking guy blew up. All right.
Nice work taking down the VIP. Now get to extraction.
Die screaming weird alien thing. Does this game have a lot of proper nouns? Oh yeah, dude. And it has so many different little stories within it that are about entirely different fucking proper nouns. That really, I think the only thing I get out of the writing in this game is a general vibe. Like, they talk about things like it's the most serious shit in the world, but all of the words, like every fourth word of every sentence is just like some bullshit, and you're just like, all right. Howl of the Kubro. And you're like, okay. Like, I know that a Kubro is one of those dogs. Like, okay, what do we... what? We got some Oxium. We got a sigil, which we can... That's like a cosmetic thing that says, I guess I killed that guy. We got a mod that's a stance of some kind for hammers. We got a fat sack of endo. And an Ember Neuroptics blueprint that is one of the components needed to build the Ember Warframe. And more spores. I don't know. There's so many spores. There's so many spores. And now this dude's going to stretch. It's nice. It's nice. And now I guess we can do the thing. We can open up Uranus because we've completed all three of the... It's dumb that the loadout thing always is over the check marks on the junction thing. But it seems like that's just always how it works out. So, I don't know. I'm going to open up Uranus and we'll see what this next quest looks like. And I'll play this for as long as I'm enjoying it, I suppose. That's always been my thing with Warframe. I think the difference is that, like, I'm understanding it on a somewhat deeper level than I have in the past. So now I feel like I'm making some sort of progress in whatever this game is. Now this guy talks a good game, and then I just walk up and shoot him for like a little while here. Hang on. Now this one's actually a little bit harder than some of the other ones have been. Or rather, I mean, it's taking a little longer to kill it. All right, that's that. I murdered that man, and now I'm all up in Uranus. Is it free to the new content? Yeah, so they're not charging for content at all. Like they haven't. I don't think they've sold an expansion. I don't think Warframe 1999 came out and they were like, you need to give us $40. You know, like all of the content editions have been free. Okay. Now here we are. So what it said, the thing that we are ostensibly trying to do is play missions on Uranus until you encounter strange drones. Have I built my railjack yet? I have a railjack. I don't know what a railjack does. I still don't know what you're supposed to do with a railjack. It's fun to say railjack. Railjack. Like it's fun to say railjack. You played this on PS4 at launch, fun times. Yeah, it's crazy to think. Yeah, like this was a, you know, this had existed before that, but it was a launch game on PS4. Huh, yeah, that's right. And now they've got cross progression and everything, so I think that is actually what brought me back to it, is after I played the first Descendant and got all of the trophies and achievements on all platforms, because they had synced it all up like that. Like, I remembered, like, oh, right, Warframe did that too. And so I downloaded Warframe and linked all the accounts and everything and launched it to just watch a bunch of trophies and achievements pop on all platforms. And then I was like, well, I guess I could play some more Warframe. And then now here we are. So yeah, you could go dig up your PS4 account and link it to, you know, whatever and continue on PC. And then you could be just as lost as I am trying to play a game that you originally played in 2013 or 14. And be like, what? Okay, well, we can't do much other than this. Exterminate submersible. What? Am I going to be in a submarine? Does this game have submarines? Does this game have submarines? Or am I just underwater and I'm fighting? Am I gonna die in a submarine? I used to always say the thing that made this game better than Destiny was that you could move the ship on the loading screen.
There is a large platoon of Grenier Marines stationed here.
Okay.
Leave no one standing. Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Where there's the arrow says there's a guy over here somewhere, but oh.
I'm detecting a large security force heading your way. It's the Grenier.
Oh, water.
Ooh, I'm getting shocked. I guess, you know, you stand around in water, it's going to happen eventually. This beam weapon is weird.
Hello? What did you see? My data stream went dark.
I don't know. Like we were just killing dudes. Didn't really see much of anything.
I am sensing some signal masking. It will take some time to decipher. Concentrate on your mission for now. Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
You're always saying that.
I'll sit out for a second.
Feel my wrath!
Just people be talking. No, no. Now it wants me to go back this way. Oh. Oops, 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 oops. Well, let's just go with it, I guess. And we'll take the elevator back up. All right. Yeah, so in these missions where you got to kill everybody, you know, it really it gives you a waypoint to every single guy, you know, or the closest guy, I guess I should say. Sometimes you flip out too hard and you end up standing somewhere you're confused about. Like, wait, why am I... No? Ah. Oh. Oh. So this is like a slower version of the Archwing. I guess I guess I'm technically am in the Archwing. This stuff awkward. I guess this is what they meant by submersible. You do some underwater Archwing stuff. Which, okay, I guess. That's really as fast as I can go, huh? Okay. Wait, why is it... Oh, did I like leave the area and it warped me back to... That's... Alright. That's not great. I was just following this thing. I was just trying to get to these things and shoot something. But okay, I guess I can't go that way. Go around this way then? Okay. Okay. So normally these missions are much faster because you're not in water, but I just the something about the way these things control. I've only done a couple of them, but it just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't feel right at all.
Enemy is broken. Well done. Now get to extraction.
All right, we killed enough dudes, and now we leave. Why is that? Okay. That's weird that the indicator didn't update, and I'm just like now swimming away from the extraction, but I'm just gonna... Oh, there it goes. Okay, let's try this away. It's awkward because, you know, it's kind of meant to be more of a flight thing, and you don't... I don't know. I don't feel like I have the right level of control over all axes. Hi. Still, that it, you know, but also it's neat that it does that. It's neat that it's like, hey man, what if there was an underwater part? Like, all right, yeah, I mean, it's not great, but sure. What if there was an underwater part? Why not? Can you change the flying robot? Yeah, so that's like the other Warframes. I think there are different arch wings or whatever that will have different abilities and stuff too.
Mission complete. Excellent work, Tenno.
Gallium. Oh, okay. So, I guess we found the strange drones. That didn't take long.
An incubator segment. You want to turn me into a petting zoo? Ordis is happy to assist the operator restore.
And so we'll go in here
I have
and...
just detected signatures matching the new drone. Gather scans of it to determine its origin and capabilities.
I assume by scan it means I need to use my scanner. You do have a scan, but you have like... You have to construct charges for the scanner? I think I have enough. I should go check. I have 48 codex scanner charges. Hopefully that will be enough. Scan the new drones.
I've marked the signatures on your map. Gather scans, but approach with caution, Tenno.
Okay. Does that mean don't just shoot everything? Clearly. Clearly you didn't mean that guy.
I'm not getting a good feed. Is there an object they're pulling data from? Scan it for me.
So do I need to scan?
It is just old war wreckage. Why are the Corpus suddenly interested in it? Tenno, another scannable signature just appeared near you. We may be able to determine what the Corpus are up to.
Oh, this weapon's already max level. I should swap it out for something else. Ah, shut up. So I think I can scan all of this stuff, like all the enemies. Like there's a whole... There's like it's basically like a hunting guy in one of the social areas that's like, hey, here's how to... Is this what I'm scanning? Oh, that. Oh, did you? Okay. Okay. Well, that dude got scanned either way.
Tenno, what did you see? My data stream went dark. I am sensing some signal masking. It will take some time to decipher. Concentrate on your mission for now. This thing is not a Corpus design. If you can get another scan, I can determine its origin. Tenno, I need you to scan another drone. I'm not getting a signal, but if you found a drone, scan it before it notices you.
That's not what we're here to scan, though.
Good. I'm putting the stream.
Okay, well, we scanned that thing.
It is an oculist. That means... I'm sorry, Tenno. Stay safe.
Hello? Did the Lotus just abandon the operator? Get cut off? I have extraction ready. I think you should hurry.
So this being one of the like the main big quests makes me think, you know, like a lot of the big named quests that I know you need to do later on that are supposed to be like the big reveals, like doing this is a prerequisite for being able to do those. So I don't know, like I feel like I'm on the right track. Sure did scan those drones.
Operator, Ordis knows what it is like to be abandoned.
Oh no.
Don't worry, someone has offered to help us.
So, pupil.
This
spring
fucking
has
guy.
ended. The lotus blossom has snapped.
I thought I was
shut
done with this
through
fucking
nature
guy.
Revealed. Now, we shall see if codependence can be broken. Let us begin to unravel her long-hidden truth.
Word? Let me go switch out for a different secondary weapon, I think, because I think this one's full. So, oh, my sword is good too. So let's see. Ancient blades, perfected for today's combat. That sounds fun. Dual blades. Fever strike. And for this, how about send shivers down your enemy's spine with this wrist-mounted. Deals additional headshot damage if Sevagoth Prime. Sevagoth Prime. These are all good words. Help tension. Tension. I keep on saying tension.
The ghost you saw is of a menace long thought dead.
Word.
They study us, study our enemies. Let us sharpen our knowledge of them.
Oh, this is like a charge up. That's this does quite a bit of damage. I mean, no wonder I only have 39 fucking shots for
This
it.
console will serve my purpose. Unlike your Lotus, I will not keep its secrets from you. Exercise your training. Defend the console.
Wait, the Lotus isn't on the up and up? But the Lotus has been guiding me this entire time. Nah. So this Teshin guy, you've heard me talk about the Duviri paradox. This is a great fucking sentence. Okay, that one's 141. We'll go to this one. This guy is so, and that's like that is like a weird, more open area roguelite thing that you do. And it's a set of quests you do, and then you're kind of done. And then once you're done, you can kind of go back and oops. You can go back and grind there if you need to. This is the guy that you are working with in that area, and so you've only seen him in this other weird fucking fake world. That where you're even are you even playing as this dude? I think that's probably the reveal, right? Is that it's gonna say like, hey, by the way, you're that fucking guy. You're still that dude from that other bullshit thing we had you do. You're just doing robot stuff now. Because at the end of that, you get to leave. At the end of that, it's like, well, you can leave now if you want. And you're like, yes, let me fucking leave. This part of the game is a drag.
My task is complete, but the puzzle calls for one last piece. Advance to the final console.
Very smooth, very natural.
This is it. The answers we seek lie within. Use this combat to sharpen your blades. I predict
my blades.
you'll need them
Okay.
in coming battles.
I don't think he literally meant blades, but hey. They do pretty good damage, so...
Found that which wanted to be hidden. Advance to extraction.
Whoops. Get a little overzealous on some of these. You just got mad ups in this game, you know? So you just want to flip out and go everywhere, but sometimes you get a little too wild and jump off an edge. And it's funny, like they give you, you know, like now the game has all these open areas and open environments that where you can just really kind of, you know, go nuts with the movement. But they give you all this crazy movement stuff in these really, in a game, you know, where almost all of the content is these really tight corridors.
Another job well executed.
Okay. Find the sergeant.
This Grenier is smarter than the others, more volatile. We need to be cautious. Find his sergeant, pupil. He will lead us to this tomb.
All right. I guess I haven't leveled anything up that I can replace. I'm close. On Ash Prime here. All right, stare at this thing for a minute. I gotta, I'll be right back. I gotta go check on something. Oh, he ran away. Okay. We're all good. Now, about this sergeant. It's nice to sort of feel like I'm getting somewhere, maybe.
And awakened an old evil submerged here. Capture the sergeant. He will know where this tomb is.
Teshin, you don't have the authority. You are endangering the Tenno.
So, the
that's not...
petals have opened once more. But why now?
Oh, okay.
Afraid of what we'll find?
That is, in fact, where we're going.
But I see that Teshin has been leading you into an even greater danger.
The beast soon stirs, Lotus, revealing much. It will awaken and become whole again.
The sentient.
You know this one, don't you?
I feel like we were just in an area that looked exactly like this. Because we were.
He knows where the tomb is. Apprehend him.
Oh, the tomb. Yeah, we gotta get to the tomb. Of course. To say, am I running up to him? What am I doing? Okay. I caught him, and he lives in my gun now. I don't.
Extraction.
Oops. Oh. Actually. But this isn't where I'm not supposed to be. Oh, jeez. There we go. Right? Wait, do I need to get in the water, or do I? No. We can walk up this way and go this way. Nope, that's not a way out. Oh, yes it is. Okay. Oh, it's down. Oh,
Mission complete. Excellent work, Tenno.
all right, I guess I can swap this Ash Prime out for something else, because it's max level now. Did I ever play Star Wars Galaxies? A little bit. Not really.
Speak, Lotus. The pieces are set. It is your move.
Till Rhaegar must be stopped from entering the tomb. I have to risk.
I was just
exposure to
thinking,
stop
man,
him.
that's Till Rhaegar. We don't want that dude getting into the tomb. I'm glad that we're all on the same page here. Doomed are the fools who attack the peace and exhaust the restraint of this reluctant warrior. A harmony of mistress and monster. Cast a long shadow with this lethal enforcer. Let's try that one. It's fucking cowboy. Yeah! Sure. I did put stuff on all these. Yeah, I did. Okay. Alrighty. It's very silly, that all these weird pointy-edged characters, they're like, nah, man, this one's got a cowboy hat.
Get to the waypoint. I will give you further instructions when you get there. You've reached the waypoint. Access the system.
Knew it. Little lizards can't resist another chance to get their sticky hands in my jar.
Okay.
Till's cut off life support. Hold on, Tedo. I'm readying extraction, but this will take time.
The sentient. The destroyer. The liberator. Depends on who you ask, but this
Whoa, that's so deep.
certain I will have its secret.
What if the good guys were the bad guys, but also what if that dude's on a motorcycle? What the fuck is happening?
Life support incoming.
When I think about 1999, you know what I think about? Motorcycles. Everyone had one. I had two.
I've delivered a life support capsule to the area. Activating it will...
Oh, this is 8.5 minutes of this. Okay. Wow. So this is basically like, this was the main mission type you would do in the roguelite thing of like, hey, you've got a ticking life support counter. You got these icons on the map. You see those spots on the map where you can go to get a boost of life support. But also, most of these guys you kill are going to drop pickups.
I'm cracking open the sentient's tomb and sealing yours at the same time. Not laughing? Well, I don't know. I find it funny.
It's not a tomb, Rhaegar. It's a cage. If you open it...
Is that Teshin? So... the pseudo-Tenno lives! Still drunk on your own honor? Shock it hasn't brought it you through yet.
Life support on the way.
All right.
Another life support capsule is now available.
So, the sentient, nasty thing, came from where? Who cares? They smashed the Oro kit. freed us. How?
I was just thinking about the Orokin and how, you know, they got smashed, and yeah, this is all. Yep. I find that I'm really not using the abilities on these dudes, on the Warframes, as often as I probably should. Half the time it's because I don't remember what they do, or I haven't even looked it up. I'm just trying to level these guys up. And it doesn't feel like you need the abilities a lot of the time. It's just kind of... I don't know. The game, at least these missions, and you know, I'm like I said, I'm sure that there's some end game or more difficult content where you really need to be on your shit in a more realistic way. But the game has just not been difficult. I feel like the only ever time I run into trouble is those guys, the arson guys, the fire guys, because that wave will knock you down and it'll do a healthy amount of damage to your shield. And you know, if you're surrounded by other things that are gonna take advantage of that, then you know, then that's a situation you can find yourself in. It's real silly. Oh, I still have it, huh? Oh, they're eventually going to come through this door. And yeah, I'll just hit it again. Oh, I got knocked out of it. That's fun. That's a fun ability of just auto aim combined with ridiculous non-animated aim transition. Three minutes. Yeah, see? These fuckers will knock you down with that thing and... But I do find that this is these sorts of missions where there's just like, hey, here's a bunch of oh, hey, I got fucking smoked. Look at that. Look at that. These are the missions where it seems like the game is at its best. They're just like, hey, here's a billion fucking things to shoot and...
Look, Exodus. Some primordial former. An engine for self-manipulation. What will it do for me?
What has he found?
What was that?
Minute 30. That's fun. That's a cool ass ability. Yeah, did that happen again? See?
Who was there?
Nata, where are you? You cannot hide from me.
All of you retreat now!
Nata, who have you become? Does this form remind you of what you once were? Time has carried my seed so very far from the branch.
All right, now we got some stranger on my phone talking about his seed. Come on. Seven seconds.
Extraction ready. Leave now. Get out.
Going this way. Okay, run this away, and then this away, and then flip around here, and then go here, and then jump over this way, and here we are.
Another job well executed.
Boar blueprint. Polymer bundle.
Pupil, what is your Lotus hiding? Who is Nata?
My name. My old name.
Oh, shit.
It is not who I am now. We need to focus on now, not history. We need to seal the tomb.
All right, I got a little bit of time left here. Maybe we can just rush right into
The
this.
sentient is awake.
Do one more here before I gotta go. Cowboy. Cowboy robot.
A focused blast could release the magma flows beneath and rebury the tomb. Protect the bomb during its lengthy arming process.
Oh no. Playing part of this game sometimes feels like, especially like after all the stuff has been in the game for years, like you see this stuff kind of clustered together in a way that you go like, oh, this must have been new when they made these quests, because otherwise why would you put so much of it here? Like at some point they must have been really stoked on this underwater thing, or you know, whatever. And so it's like there's like an archaeological thing happening here of like, you feel like you're digging through the layers of this game's ongoing development as you play it. As someone who is not super familiar with it, right? Someone who didn't keep current with it at all. Like you see the different ideas that they had over the course of its run so far.
Destroy this tomb? Destroy our history? Vandals.
Those who pilfer meat from lions are either foolish or starving. Which are you?
Yeah, I was just thinking, man, you know what? Dudes that are pilfering meat from lions, like you gotta be one of two things. Fucking straight up crazy or straight up hungry. You know what I'm saying? I'm always saying this. You. That. You. A little bit of that.
Why did you betray me? Why did you not finish the sequence you started? Why did you stop at the last?
What is it talking about, Lotus?
Also, I don't know that I think the voice acting in this game is very good. I like it. It gives the game a real specific flavor that I'm kind of into, but it's not not a lot of oomph. And I wonder, like, yeah, will that improve as I play through more of the story? Because, you know, who knows how old is this content I'm playing right now? Is this from the dark days of Warframe before they kind of came out the other side and was like, oh, wait, people love this. This is 2015? Okay, yeah. So, yeah. I'm sure that's part of it, right? 2015. So this is a 9-year-old. That's crazy. No, 10-year-olds. Yeah, now to shit. And did someone that we need to kill get hung up? Yeah.
We crossed the gap, wounds and ruin to bring an end to this. We severed worlds. Let them destroy me. Why is the sequence not complete?
Most intriguing, Lotus. Do you two have a history?
in some cases, like, you know, and some of it's because the voice acting and where the game is made, obviously, right, is going to influence some of that. But there's a certain, sometimes this game feels, and maybe that's just because you know where it came from, right? But there are aspects of this game that feel like Canadian sci-fi.
Daughter, the last of my wounds.
If that makes any sense.
How can you do this?
You know, like that type of television.
What are you not telling us?
Focus, Teshin.
And it's kind of awesome because that doesn't really exist. Like that's
almost armed.
a cultural export that doesn't, you certainly don't see a lot of in video games. But yeah, Lex specifically is what I'm thinking of. What that was. It's like they sat down and were like, what if we made a I Worship His Shadow game? But is that Canadian, or is that because did that originally start in Canada, or was it like German and then like late? I forget the actual path of Lex. That's what it was, Canadian with German production money. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense somehow. Because I was just like watching TV late one night. This is, again, the magic of like cable in an era where you might just be bored and watch television. And there was something on called I Worship His Shadow, and it was presented as a movie. It was not presented as a episodic show. And I remember watching it and being like, this sucks, and I love it. Holy shit, this is fucking miserable, but also this lady is really hot. Holy shit. Like, it was just like a mix of many things. And then like she got replaced at some point with someone else. And I was like, well, I don't know. So I never got into Lex.
And want to reclaim you. I will not be able to stop them. Finish the sequence, and I will forgive you. Fail at this, and you will be reclaimed by your own father.
The bomb is armed. I'm pulling you out.
Okay. The bomb was armed. Oh my god, I got my next level of mastery,
Lotus, you cannot hide this past any longer.
There are gaps. I had my mission, and I have completed it. All but the last sequence.
To destroy the Tenno.
The war was over, so I hid them away. In the second dream, I could not destroy them.
And yet, you were born to. So tell me, what made you stop to reject your nature?
All missions to the Origin system required a sacrifice. Me and my kind become barren when crossing the gap. It is the one flaw we never overcame.
Nata wanted children of her own.
Nata was the
Gunblade.
daughter until I destroyed her. Now, I am the Lotus. Now I am the mother.
Uh-huh. You were the daughter, now you're the god. Of course. Exilus Warframe adapter. Fuses with a Warframe to unlock the Exilus mod slot. Okay, yeah, I've seen... Okay. But that's not the end of that. Oh, I need to put mods on those things, yeah. But I think we're gonna probably wrap it up there.
Tenno, you seal my tomb. You kill my tube men.
My tube men. Okay, so that was that the end of Nata then? Or, I guess not. Okay, well, there's nothing here on the list anymore. Does that just kind of pick up afterwards, maybe? She did talk about it being hidden in another dream, which would imply that maybe this would be a thing I could do, but... Anyway, I gotta get going pretty soon anyway, so... Was I in a menu when it was supposed to show the, like, you completed the mission thing? And so it broke? Mesa, I like the cowboy. It's cool. It's good. She's just seems cool. But I think that's going to do it for now. Do I just keep pushing into Uranus? I guess next. I mean, I got to unlock Neptune eventually. Defeat Tilragor at Titania on Uranus. Complete a mission on Uranus with only your melee weapon equipped. And complete Nata, which is not lit up. So I have not completed it. According to that, anyway. Well. Maybe I gotta go kill Tilragor for that all to register or something. That's all the way over here. Well, I guess I have this quest here, so it's not actually that far at all, is it? Anyway. Or maybe when I relaunch the game, it will register somehow. Like maybe it's just something got hung up. But it is still showing here as my active quest also, so... Hell, I don't know. Like, I imagine some of this stuff is hard. Like, some of the stuff that's locked, or some of these things that are on the, like, repeatable quest portions of this quest log. I imagine some of this stuff must be difficult, right? Is this where they hide the difficult stuff? It's not immediately clear as a player. But like I said, it's you know, like I went down in that mission, that mission a couple missions ago. But these hand motions, I'm not. All right, you're just a weirdo. Anyway, Warframe. Let's try this real quick. These are usually pretty short.
A full frontal attack is not always the best option. Using your stealth abilities to
Oh,
eliminate
man.
all enemies
Okay.
without being detected.
Yep, cannot. Yeah, as she said, you cannot do a full frontal attack. These VR missions. Does crouching matter? Wow. I'm hitting the square button. I'm hitting the stealth kill button behind that guy. Ugh. I guess these things, if you failed these mastery tests, it used to be a thing where you could only try them once every 24 hours. And they have changed that to just be like, hey, you can just do them over and over again, which is probably for the best. The last one of these I did was like an agility, like you got to jump high, and it had been kind of a while since I'd done any of that, so it took me several attempts because I was like, I don't remember how to do that. Okay, is that it? Or probably not, right? I mean... So we got, what, one guy up top, one guy down below. All right, which way are we going? Are you stopping here and turning? Oh, you're going that way. Okay. Oh, there's another guy over there, too. Oh, can I just do this real quick and just... Nobody saw me. I'm good. These guys seem to be fucking dumb shits. So... I wonder if I could do this. Sure can. Ah. That guy sounded angry for a second there, so I wasn't sure if I... Oh, you're going to come down. Okay. I'm just going to sit here and dance with my guns. A very stealthy technique. Pardon me, sir. Why is this not working? Why is this broken? Why would it not let me do it? Oh, he's in an alert phase. Okay, that makes sense. So now he's going to go back to his post, and now maybe I can do it? Nope. Ah! Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Oh, okay. So if the triangle is hollow, they're undetected. If it's filled, they're on alert. Okay, I get it. All right. Well, I don't have time to do that again right now, but that seems very doable. And then I'll be rank 9, I guess. I don't know. Warframe. I don't know, man. It's like I said, it's a fascinating. I think that is one of the things that kind of has me interested in the game this time, is that feeling of like, man, a lot of this stuff was made a long time ago now, and they've stretched it out and reorganized it and done all these different things to different parts of the game over the years and layered more and more stuff on top. And so I would not have known. I suspected maybe that part of the game we were just playing was extremely old, because it just felt plain in a way that other parts of the game do not. And so it's a weird mishmash of all of these different eras. And I imagine that they just cater to the players that they keep, right? And so I'm guessing that most people that play this game are way past this by now, which is weird because, you know, like a lot of free to play games really, especially on mobile, like they are desperately trying to get new players in the door at all times. And so the new player experience is always a very big focus for developers. You know, they're like, okay, how do we, you know, can we hone this? How do we, you know, and you know, in mobile, a lot of the time it's like, okay, we have a pretty good idea. If we retool this part of it, then they'll monetize here. And they'll, you know, this is where they'll start spending money, and this is where you know, and it feels very mechanical. It feels very, you know, focus tested and honed, and you know, like the business part of a lot of free to play games feels like a very scary trap, you know. This doesn't feel that way. This and you know, I don't know what the new player experience. Someone wrote in and said, hey, it would be cool to see you do like a, you know, how do you get into Warframe new player? And I'm like, I can't though, because I played a lot of hours of it 10 years ago. And so I don't know what this game looks like to a new player anymore. All I know is what it looks like to a player who played through all with the parts that would have been a tutorial years ago. And I'm sure those have been rebuilt a billion times. But now I return to the game like a player who's been playing the game for a long time. And so that's why it's so easy to get lost. And there's players in the middle. And that's what I talk about with Destiny and a lot of other games like this. Those players in the middle that lapsed and maybe returned. And it's a thing I've said about Warframe multiple times over the years. That it is that thing of like, you launch it and you're like, dude, I have no idea how to play this game, what I should be doing. Like Destiny 2 has, I think, the exact same problem as someone who, but I've returned to Destiny more frequently over the years for sure. And so, but even then you have these positions of just like, I don't really know what I'm doing. And so the thing that would always happen with Destiny is new content would come out and I'd be like, that looks cool. And I would go and you would play through the kind of forced quest that you would launch into the first quest of the new thing. And you would play that and you would get dumped out into the world. And that'd be like, I'm not really sure which one of these is the next step in this quest, but I'm looking at this log of things I have to do and I'm going to go do this. And then I would end up spending hours doing content that was like from the previous year and not even touch any of the new stuff. And eventually I would fall off and just be like, whatever, man. And it just felt like I did nothing other than check off some more quests that I won't have to do next time. And I don't know, maybe it's because I'm so early, you know, with Destiny 2, I completed the main story. I did all, you know, I played a lot of Destiny 2. And so maybe that's part of it, where like now I'm doing all of this star chart stuff that I'm sure a lot of other people have long since completed. And maybe if you completed all that stuff and left the game and came back, it would be even more confusing. But I at least feel like I have like goals of just like, okay, well, I need to unlock these junctions, and they're pretty good about telling you the prerequisite for this quest is this quest, and you need to do this to, like, the codex is pretty good at pointing you at like, if not like the very next thing you should be doing, it at least lets you know why you can't do something that's on your list. And so you're able to look at that and go like, okay, and work backwards. And so that's kind of interesting. I don't know. It's a neat game. But I feel like I'm not having a typical player experience at all, because I've had all this gear for years that I never touched and all this other stuff. And, and so returning to it is just a very weird thing, but I'm having a good time with it. I'm having a good time with it. It's like, it's fun to chip away at. I think it's, again, like a lot of the story is nonsense, and it's certainly not a perfect game, but I do think it's got a lot of really, really interesting things. And also it just feels like you're excavating this weird old thing that they're still building on top of. Like, I'm this many layers deep underground, chipping away at fossils, and they've built a new mall on top of all of this stuff with a dating sim and everything else. And maybe one day I'll see that. But by the time I see that, how many more layers will they have built on top of the mall? And so it's always like, I always feel like I'm several steps behind in the game, and it's interesting. It's an interesting way to experience it, I guess. That's gonna do it for me. I gotta get going. So have a good one, and I'll see you on Friday. We'll rank some 8-bit Nintendo games. Come on back, and I'll see you then.